oh boy, oh boy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. If you're new to this daily broadcast, we are here to answer some basic questions like: would you like to have a good choice of headlines from news that are happening near and far? Would you like to have some inspiring ideas to keep yourself entertained, to learn something new? Um, this is a place. We get together every morning. We exchange ideas. We exchange suggestions about things that are going on in Puerto Vallarta. We look for tips and solutions for things that we can do. And we have a generally good time. Today is one of those days in which it's starting to feel warmer. Or maybe it is because I'm running like crazy this morning trying to get everything ready for today's broadcast, which is going to be a lot of fun. Today, we're going to talk about our usual news. Today, we're going to take a look at some new, interesting offerings on television, including Ryan Murphy's new Netflix series, Hollywood, which I started binging on yesterday. But don't worry, we won't spoil it. We will simply talk a little bit about it. And we will look at a couple of recommendations for local eateries and food delivery solutions. And last but not least, I have a special segment on someone who is celebrating her birthday today, and she is all connected to the series Batman and Robin, to the series Murphy Brown, to the LGBT community, and I am sure you don't know who this is, or maybe you do if you did some Googling to find out whose birthday is celebrated today. Um, Look at all these wonderful hellos. It's always great to see you. Um, Paul, Rita, Stacy, Kathleen, Dodd, Christy, David. Yes, it is more humid. Nina, it's great to see you today. Colleen, sorry if my voice got jumpy, but Nina is a dear, dear, dear friend. We go back about a couple of centuries. Um, um, Stacy started Hollywood. We'll get to that in a second. It is warmer. Yes, Margaret, good morning. Nancy, it's so great to see you. I hope you're doing well. Nancy Page had been, because I'm sure she's finished it by now, she's been publishing photographs of this enormous tile mosaic she did um, on Facebook. Julie Bunker, Jeremiah, so great to see you all. So great that you're connecting with us. If you're new to these broadcasts, please write the word new on your comment so that we can give you the proper welcome. And if you are watching this later on today, remember that the broadcasts remain available on Facebook, and I also upload them to YouTube. Please accept our apologies for saying all these hellos to people that tuned in. You are just as important to us if you're watching later on. Please feel free to leave your comments, and we will actually address them all to the best of my ability. Let's get started with some headlines because we have a bunch of them, and I want to start, as always, with our news related to the COVID-19. When is it all over? This is a very, very popular question. Well, there's a new study that came to us from Singapore that has to do with predictions on when the coronavirus is going to be over in different parts of the world. We're going to concern ourselves with Mexico. And according to this study, um, we will be down to 97% success in containing the disease by the 12th of June and 99% by the 25th of June. They expect that the virus will be completely gone by the September the 13th. Of course, we know that we don't get rid of this because we don't have an antidote, we don't have a vaccine yet, but there's news that this might be in development. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. So these are the figures for Mexico. Meanwhile, we have information that tells us that COVID-19 pandemic is likely to last 2 years, according to Bloomberg. Bloomberg says a report. And it won't be controlled until about 2/3 of the world's population is immune, because again, we don't have a vaccine for it just yet. Um, at the same time, we have been getting news from north of the border that there's a lot of finger pointing going on as far as to whether the virus was artificially created or not um, in China, of course. And the World Health Organization has published that they have enough evidence to know that the virus developed naturally and it transferred from an animal to us humans in a natural way. We have to see about that. There's going to be a lot more research going on to that effect. Um, I have told you in the past that in Mexico, there's all this public shaming related to lords and ladies. Well, there's an exception that I read about yesterday. This lady is not harmful, quite the contrary. Apparently, there's a new lady in Mexico. Her name is LadyCartas or Lady Letters, and she's a nurse. That what she's done is she has delivered messages between patients and family members in a particular um, Seguro Social hospital. Her name is Margarita Hernandez. She is in Tijuana, in Baja California, and she's known by her friends and the patients as Maggie. How nice that she's taking the time to exchange letters and notes between patients and their family members who clearly have no way to be in direct contact with one another. This is a nice piece of news to read about today. Um, I also found out an interesting piece of news that was published locally in Vallarta Independiente, in which our president, the president of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, tells us that everybody can go to private hospitals for attention. Apparently, and I don't know exactly how this works, there is an agreement between the government of Mexico and a number of private hospitals in which if you have other diseases like your appendix or hernias and births, well, giving birth is not a disease, obviously. You can go to certain hospitals even if you cannot afford to pay for a private hospital. Now, that does not mean we should all rush to hospitals and get our hernias taken care of. Again, it is worth doing some research as to which local hospitals might be able to take care of our medical needs if we have an emergency. Again, I'm not completely immersed in this topic, but it's good to know that there are certain agreements between the federal government and private hospitals of the region. I'm sure that Pam Thompson might have some comments to that effect. If anybody's curious about this, just let me know in the comments and we will do some additional research on this. Um, Apparently, Apple has listened to my woes and many other people's woes because Apple has acknowledged that Face ID does not work when you're wearing a mask, and they are going to fix that in future updates of their software. And of course, if you're using an Android phone, um, this does not apply to you. But I've been really amused when I'm out and about and I'm used to just raising my phone to my face. And I want my phone to recognize me, and it doesn't recognize me if I'm wearing my face mask. But this could change very quickly. Um, this is a comforting bit of news. Guilty as charged. Almost half of Americans don't always wear pants while working from home, survey says. I know. I've been there. I do that. I want to be comfortable. What are you wearing at home? Please let me know that you're also wearing comfy clothes so that I won't feel um, so self conscious about this. And I think what else is coming? Okay, we start to get into the fun stuff. So let me go back to my main screen and see what you have to say. How do you like this combination of serious and not so serious bits of news? Here we are of the thinking, of the mindset that we want to know what's going on. We want to be well informed, but we also want to be entertained. Let's see. Did I enjoy Hair? No, not yet. I haven't had a chance to see it. It is so funny because I end up recommending all this television and all this stuff that is being streamed. And for better or worse, I don't have time to watch it because I am spending a lot of time preparing fun, exciting shows for you guys. But I will definitely get to watching Hair at some point. We have no, we have more hellos from Chris and Ellen and Marge. Uh, Paul confirms that Face ID does not work with mask. Christina, how are your sheep doing in up there where you live? I hope you're doing well. Christy, it's great to see you. David, uh, Marge loves both news and entertaining. Excellent. Comfy clothes or no clothes, I am all about that. I wear my blue shirts because they seem to work well with my background. But then I take them off so that they remain clean and not stinky. Um, Serious and not serious is perfect. Most comfortable naked. We want to see evidence of that. I am just kidding. Um, it's a 30-minute distraction. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to your mother, Candace and Cassandra. I didn't know that your mom's birthday was celebrated today, but it's good to know. Um, Yoga pants and leggings, now that it's getting warmer, swimsuits, I hear you. I know that it's getting warmer when I start changing the dial in my ceiling fan. You know, it starts in one. In fact, I keep it in one all year round at the very minimum because I like to feel some air when I'm sleeping. And it has a dial. The dial has four positions. So I gradually start increasing from one to four as the season starts going. And if we look, by the way, at the weather map, yes, we are starting to get into warmer weather. It is 82 degrees now. It feels like 83. It's 28 degrees humidity. I'm sorry, it's 28 degrees Celsius, and our humidity is 86% or 88. It's really small letters. I cannot really read them, but that's what's going on right now. Let's go back to our headlines as long as we're here because. Where did we stop? Oh, this is next. Okay, so I read about this new series on Amazon. It's called Upload, and and I was curious about it because I've seen the main actor before, and I think he's cute, but don't quote me. And I love the beginning of the article. It says, "Take Black Mirror's dystopian tech commentary, The Good Place's philosophical exploration of the afterlife, and the workplace antics of the office," and you get Amazon's Upload. And I watched the trailer of this, and apparently the premise of this show is that when you die, you are given the choice of either dying or your memories are uploaded to some kind of artificial universe. Again, I just found out about this a few minutes ago. I have a certain um, addiction. Well, not addiction, but I love my science fiction shows very, very much. And I'm going to be exploring this. If you like sci fi, give it a go. Let me know what you think. Then I read this, and this makes me so very, very happy. Modern Family is back on Netflix. I think the world could come to an end, but it's okay because Modern Family is back on Netflix. It's been on Netflix before, and I was watching it, episode by episode, and all of a sudden, boom, Netflix took it out of their programming schedule, and I'm very happy that this is going to be back available for us to enjoy. And then we talked briefly about Ryan Murphy's new series, Hollywood, and boy, is this really great storytelling. I'm not going to spoil anything. The premise of the series is well, the series follows a series of a group of young actors that are trying to make it in Hollywood after World War II. And you see some characters that are real. For example, Rock Hudson appears in the series along with other well known actors. Other characters could be fabricated, but based on real life people. I am not a huge expert on Hollywood from this period, so I couldn't tell you how much of the series is based in real life or how much of the series is just a reinvention of Ryan Murphy. Um, But what I like about the series that he produces is that they're so easy to get immersed in. I mean, I watched the first episode and I blinked and it was over, and I was like, "Where did the hour go?" And then I watched the second episode and it was equally engaging, and so forth and so on. So, if old Hollywood is your thing, you will enjoy the series very much. If anything, because of the way it is produced. I mean, all the costumes, all the music, all the period language. It is truly truly fascinating and well produced. I look forward to hearing your comments about this. And then we have this news caught my attention. This coming from the Berlin Philharmonic. We've talked about their live streaming options through their digital channel, which is called Digital Concert Hall. It's one of my favorite sources of music, classical music entertainment, because you can search through their entire library of performances, and you can search by author, you can say, I'm sorry, by composer, you can search by conductor, by soloist, by instrument. And they have a huge library, but they also, their meat and potatoes is that they broadcast their concerts live, which obviously they have not been able to do until last night, in which for the first time since the pandemic started, they broadcast a concert again. The concert was broadcast with a smaller ensemble, in an empty hall, which is a little bit of introduction to what things may look like for the next few months, or maybe um, the next few years. Hopefully, not the next few years. But there's a photograph here that shows a comparison. I hope you can see this, and if not, you'll see it when I share the link with you. The photo on the left shows us the hall as it looked yesterday. I'm afraid I cannot zoom. Oh, yes, I can zoom. Ooh, I didn't know I could zoom. But there's a photograph of the hall yesterday, when it was completely empty. And to the right, we get to see what the hall looks like when it is completely full. Um, of course, all the guidelines for social distancing will start relaxing, and we will get a better sense as to what the experience of going to a live concert or a live Broadway show is going to be like. And speaking of Broadway, I found this great website by Ken Davenport. He's a Tony Award winning Broadway producer. And he has this article called "Why Broadway May Have an Advantage Before it opens back up." And what the article talks about is how so many other industries will open before Broadway reopens. And this can be viewed as a disadvantage, of course, but it can also be viewed as an opportunity for people that are involved in the business of producing shows, because by being the last or close to the last type of industry that will reopen, this provides Broadway producers the opportunity to see how to do it right. Um, what does that mean for local productions? It's really difficult to tell at this point. I would think, I can imagine that the venue owners here in Puerto Vallarta are right now thinking about what things might look like for them. And of course, we wish them much success, as this is something that has been a very important part of what makes Puerto Vallarta special for many tourists that come and visit us. They come here to enjoy all these shows. Um, and of course, we'll have to wait and see how this develops. Boom, 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 boom. Before we go into our last headlines, I want to see what you're up to. Glad to see that things are doing well in Rincon de Guayabito. See, my memory's so bad with names. What was the Amazon show I talked about? It was called, I'll flash it again. It is called Upload, and it's brand new. I don't even know, in fact, I haven't even checked if this is available in Amazon Mexico, which sometimes can be a little tricky because you read about all these great shows that are available elsewhere, and then it turns out that they're not available in Mexico. However, some of you use something called VPN, which allows you to trick your computer or to make your computer pretend like you're in the United States and you have access to programming that comes from other countries. I know about the technology. I don't have it, but I know some friends that do. Um, is Hollywood on Amazon? Renee asks. No, Hollywood is on Netflix, and the whole season is available, so you can just shamelessly binge on this. Um, and again, it's a great recommendation. Before we wrap, and I have a little bit of a feature for you today. As I said earlier, um, today we celebrate the birthday of someone who is connected to a bunch of unexpected things and places, like television shows, like music. And rather than adding to the suspense, is I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Today is Leslie Gore's birthday. She was born in 1946, died in 2015. Do you know who Leslie Gore was? You probably do if you listen to pop music during the 60s in the United States. For me, this is as much about Leslie Gore as much as it is about being able to connect her to one of my all time favorite movies about music and musicians. I have three that are my top movies when it comes to movies about music. Number one would be Amadeus. Number two would be Farinelli. And number three, oh, Rita Myers knows her homework. Yes, absolutely. Anyhow, for you to find out what my third movie is, my favorite movie when it comes to movies about music, let's just take a look. In her 1966 film, Grace of My Heart, director Allison Anders pays tribute to a period in the United States pop music history during the early 1960s in which songwriters were hired by publishing companies to craft hit songs for the top singers of the time. In New York City, this activity took place at locations such as the Brill Building, where songwriters like Sonny Bono, Neil Diamond, Neil Sedaka, and Carole King sat at their pianos in small cubicles writing songs for other performers. Why? Because at the time, you were either a singer or a songwriter. The central character of the film is Denise Waverly, played by Ileana Douglas. Denise wins a singing competition and lands in New York, where she finds her way to the Brill Building, wanting to both write songs and perform them. Sounds familiar? Her character is loosely based on Carole King. To keep things real, rather than relying on hit songs of that period, director Allison Anders commissioned new songs for the film by pairing songwriters from the 60s with songwriters of today, including Burt Bacharach and Elvis Costello, who went on to produce music together after the film. At some point in the film, Denise Waverly and another songwriter are charged with writing a hit song for the bubblegum pop shallow ingenue singer Kelly Porter. Upon meeting her, though, they realize that her life is far from shallow. They put A and B together around the fact that the songstress is in a closeted lesbian relationship. In the film, the song they composed is called My Secret Love, and it becomes an instant hit for Kelly Porter. In real life, the song was co-written by Leslie Gore. We remember Leslie Gore for her 1963 pop hit, It's My Party, which she recorded at age 16 in a session produced by Quincy Jones. The arranger and conductor for that session was none other than Klaus Augerman. After the success of It's My Party, Leslie Gore went on to record other hits such as You Don't Own Me and California Nights, and she was also a guest star in television series such as Batman. The 1980 blockbuster film Fame features music composed by her younger brother, Michael Gore, and it also includes a song performed by Irene Cara called Out Here on My Own, which Leslie Gore co-wrote with her brother. The song earned her an Academy Award nomination that year. It is no coincidence that Leslie Gore would be called upon by Allison Anders for the song My Secret Love in her film Grace of My Heart. In her personal life, Leslie Gore had known she was a lesbian since she was 20 and went through her own share of challenges in the music business, which at the time was totally homophobic. So the character Kelly Porter is probably based on Leslie Gore's real life. Leslie Gore died of lung cancer on February 2015 at the age of 68. At that time, she and her partner, luxury jewelry designer Louis Sasson, had been together for 33 years. To have known her and to have known all the struggles that she went through, can you just imagine? I wonder if there's a biography book written about her. Um, I must confess, I've always been fascinated by this period in American pop music, the period in which all these songwriters used to work in an office building to put together these amazing hits that we know and love. I did some research and I could not find Grace of My Heart, which is my third favorite music film, available on streaming services in Mexico. I think it might be available on Amazon Prime in the United States. If you have not seen this film, I so much recommend it if you enjoy this period of music history. It is absolutely fascinating. Um, and again, this is what I do. I'm so glad you like the piece. Thank you so much for your comments. Um, Kathleen and Christy and Rita and Joey and Isaac from Gay Guide Vallarta. I mean, it's so nice that I'm able to share this and that you enjoy these kinds of features. Before we leave today, I want to also do a shameless plug for our friends at Casa Karma. As you can see, they have opened a new Facebook page for what they're calling Kitchen Capers. And this is the latest venture by our friend Georgia Darashori, who is the owner at Casa Karma. Apparently, she's let her chef go crazy, but in a good way, preparing all these wonderful meals that can be delivered to your home. And they publish a menu on a weekly basis so that you can choose what they have and you can have it delivered to your house. Why would I choose to shamelessly plug Georgia? Because she is one of the nicest human beings in this town and she has done so much to help our local communities. The least I can do is to return this and encourage you to like her page. I wonder if they'll have some kind of promotion in which the person that can say the name the fastest gets an extra something. I want you to try it. It's Kitchen Capers. Oh, that's a mouthful. So anyhow, I see that Kathleen tells us that she had a meal from Casa Karma and it was elegant, fresh, and amazing. That is good to hear. So again, I will leave you the link to this in the show notes as I always do. And in case you have not noticed, what I'm doing now is immediately after each broadcast, I put the show notes on the video on Facebook as I have been doing ever since we started. But I am also publishing on my website, pacoojeda.com, if that is if that is easier for you to access. The last thing that I want to mention, this came as a suggestion from who sent me this? Candace Shaw yesterday. She told me about these gourmet vegan tamales that are prepared here in town. And here is the Facebook page, Tamale Gourmet Wrap. And I'm going to post it here. I haven't tried them because I want to make a little bit of a comment and a suggestion and a hint. To me, it's a little bit interesting to see that a local food business would choose to use stock photos to advertise themselves instead of using the real deal. And this is not a criticism to Tamale Gourmet. It's actually an opportunity. Whoever owns this, if you need a photographer, oh, her name is Adriana. I don't have the pleasure of knowing you, Adriana. I hear your tamales are really awesome. But, if you're using photos that came from a stock photo bank and it's not the real thing, you're not really advertising your own products. Please let a photographer like myself do an exchange with you, and I'll be happy to photograph your tamales. I won't charge you a penny. Maybe we can exchange photography for tamales or something. And what I'm getting at is, restaurants, we've talked about this before. If the idea is to develop credibility in this period, um, take advantage of other service providers here in town. Barter, do exchanges with someone. I can be the photographer, or maybe you have a photographer, but as much as I appreciate this recommendation coming from Candace, and I trust Candace, I'm going to be a little cautious about a supplier or a provider that is not using their own photographs. And again, I don't mean this as a criticism, I mean it as an invitation. There are photographers in town, there are experts. I know that right now money is tight for many of us, but hey, there are opportunities to exchange services and goods with other providers and therefore help each other out. Let's see. I see more good mornings coming in. I see more hellos, and I see you all having conversations among yourself. Candace says, great idea for Adriana. I never noticed that. Well, we all notice different things. I'm just always surprised that in Spanish we have a saying, de la vista nace el amor, which says love is born in the eyes. Other people say that love is born in the tummy, but again, I'm guilty of of where I come from, and where I come from is years and years of working in publishing, where the way you present your product is so important. So anybody looking for good photography, for especially food photography, um, there are people in this town that can do this for you and can help you out if it becomes necessary. And I feel myself rambling, which means it's probably time to stop this broadcast. Thank you so very much for joining us. As you know, this is a place to share knowledge, expertise, questions, optimism, inspiration, and of course, headlines, and of course, coffee. If you like what's going on here, please take a moment to share this broadcast with your friends and associates. If you really, really liked it, consider becoming a subscriber. There are links in the show notes on how you can use buymeacoffee.com to buy me some coffee and subscribe to all the things that we produce here. Your subscriptions go a long way to help me continue to provide this source of information and entertainment for you all. And your subscriptions are deeply, deeply appreciated. Um, it is Saturday. It is the weekend. I hope you're going to have a really great day. For me, I have to go shopping again, but you got to do what you got to do. I hope you will stay healthy, happy, inspired, and continue to lounge in your underwear if it's comfortable. And of course, I will be back here tomorrow morning at 10:30. Have a great day.